Hey, viewers, and my audience that I am targeting is not just a typical individual, a typical business owner. It's every U.S. citizen or U.S. citizens that are in territories along with Puerto Rico and U.S. Virgin Islands. My name is Yara Thompson. I am a thought leader in the industry of accounting. I'm a practicing accountant and tax preparer, and I'm here to share very important thoughts with you and concepts that are vital for your financial success. Now, with our series that I'll be sharing with you, they're very unique and common tax challenges that we all experience. But what is vital for us is that knowledge gap, that lack of knowledge in a specific concept or a challenge or roadblock that we're experiencing. And I'm using this platform to communicate that and work through some of those thoughts and possible solutions to your issues or your roadblocks. So with that being said, let's get started. So welcome to today's session. As I mentioned, my name is Yara Thompson. I am Just Ask Yara. You can follow me on social media at Just Ask Yara on Facebook and Instagram, as well as, of course, my YouTube channel. Please remember to hit subscribe, like, and follow my videos and provide feedback. With that being said, whether you're filing for the first time or you're just needed a refresher or understanding the fundamentals, this session is meant for you, right? Because it's, as I mentioned, it's playing a role in vital areas of your life. That could be you're working towards acquiring a goal, starting a new business, acquiring a car, or purchasing your first home loan, your first home for your family. There's so many obstacles that we face in regular life, and I am here to be your guiding light, if you would call it, or your accountability partner in making that an achievement. So let's start by answering a simple question. What is tax preparation? And how does tax preparation impact me as a taxpayer or as a U.S. citizen required to file a tax return? So tax preparation is a process of gathering a multitude of documents issued by essential and vital companies that we as citizens either pay a debt to, receive an income from, or even invest our earnings into. So as we go through our series, we're going to cover a lot of these topics. For most individuals, preparing your tax return is a document where you are disclosing your financial equity or your financial value to the U.S. government. But in presenting that, you're looking at true due diligence being applied. You're looking at making sure that what is captured, it is not erroneous. It is true facts and transparency from what has been submitted to you or mailed to you, received by you, by your creditors or your debtors or your employers, that is a true picture and aligns with what they're reporting to the IRS as well. So the goal here is to make sure that you are abiding by the annual tax preparation filing requirement, and two, you're doing this ethically. That is extremely vital, because if, for example, you're purchasing a home, there's a specific requirement in your income that impacts that. If you're purchasing a car, not just your credit score is relevant to it. You also have to make sure that you can provide substantial income, proof of income for a certain time frame, typically 3 years, for that debtor to solidify and provide you an offer for that loan. So with that, let's get started. So tax returns are filed annually. Okay. Not only are they filed annually, they're filed on April 15th every year, dependent on what that day of the week falls on. If it's a If it's a Sunday, it'll typically be the following Monday in the United States. However, there are some extensions available. You typically don't want to do extensions on your tax returns because there are two things that just burden you. Um, First and foremost is your mental peace of mind. So, not being able to file by April 15th, it's just a weight on you that you will carry until you file. What's the second item is not being able to file on time. Additionally, now you're accruing penalties and interest at 5% per day if you have a liability due to the US government. So if you are looking at it from a numbers perspective, right? I am a regular consumer, just like you guys. I'm not only in business, but I'm a homeowner. I am a mother. I am a sister. I am a daughter. I have multitude of commitments financially and personally. And some of the things that life just happens, right? And by life happening, you also have to know that budgeting is a vital piece. So not filing your tax return, and because there's an option of an extension, knowing that budget friendly individuals who are working towards a goal or have limited financial availability or backup availability, you consider that 5% a day, right? So this is 5% in a 30-day month period. That becomes quite a calculation. That's where the government will actually enjoy filing an extension if you have a liability or you owe taxes. So each year you'll file out your forms, and each year the forms will vary based off of your income, and it will also be based off of your expenses. And as you go through my series, we'll be covering some of those expenses more in detail and why these forms will vary. These forms not only vary, they could range from a basic 1040 for individuals, and it can go as great as 1040 SR for our senior citizens who qualify for a more simplified tax return. So now, as we've covered this topic, we're gonna go into why is it so important to file an accurate tax return, and the several reasons that it's vital for you. So the first thing is, as I started in my opening, the IRS relies on your information to determine how much you will be paying in taxes or how much your refund will be. This has typically or usually taken as a opportunity to take advantage from many, to abuse the opportunity of receiving a refund. And as we navigate into my series, I will be disclosing gems. I call them gems, right? So gems that will be able to tell you why not reporting inaccurate tax returns do not bring you a good impact to what the outcome will be. You can serve imprisonment, you can receive fines, you can be flagged for audits. This can impact your employment, this can impact your entire livelihood, and all of that for a refund that, by optimistically speaking, as an individual, the US has so many opportunities in life that I would recommend being strategic in entrepreneurship to achieve that financial impact that little refund would have caused. Bring into your life, use that, transition that energy of easy money into making it positive money and money that will grow. How do I make it grow? Is by not looking at how easy it is to find a loophole in the US government requirement, but look at it as I'm filed, I'm transparent. I know that what I've received, I've reported, and I have earned that right not only to vote or to practice the amendments, but more so, you're now saying, this is me, this is who I am, and this is what I'm worth. Your financial net worth might not be 3 million, but I have a net worth and I know what my net worth is. With that, we're going to go into what is some of the things that we're going to look at. You're going to look at, for example, being eligible for tax credits and deductions. We're going to also look at how can we reduce our overall tax burden and potentially leading to a refund by using some of these concepts. Avoiding penalties is meaning filing on time. Avoiding penalties means make sure you're reporting accurate information as you have truly received it. I'm going to close this section with this. A well-prepared tax return ensures you are not leaving money on the table. And as we transition into the next topic, you're going to see exactly how that brought into light in just a few more topics in this session. All right, so now let's break down some tax terminology that we'll encounter. First thing that's on the top of the list is going to be your income, right? So let's look at income as taxable and non-taxable income. That taxable income is a portion of your income that is subject to tax withholding based off of a tax bracket. So that taxable income includes what's called a tax bracket, right? As I mentioned, that tax bracket, however, is now determined how, based off of your income in the United States, what is the progressive, the category within the progressive tax system that means that you earn more at the higher rate of which others on average are taxed. And for example, income is taxed at different rates as it moves through various tax brackets. So someone starting at a $50,000 bracket will be taxed typically very much lower than someone that is in a 6-digit income tax bracket of maybe $150K. Why is that? Because the government has made the U.S. Treasury, remember, the U.S. Treasury not only is our accountability partner, but that's how we sustain as a government in the U.S. So our tax payments that we are either deducted from our paychecks, our weekly paychecks, those taxes go back to the U.S. Treasury. The U.S. Treasury sustains the economy. And it sustains the economy in the different options of the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice. All that money is now allocated into their buckets, right? But then for us, it's reverse. For us is how do they determine what our tax bracket is? Our tax bracket is determined of how much money we've earned. And that money that we've earned is called taxable income, but only taxable after deductions are removed from our taxable income, right? So now let's get into that piece. So that piece goes into deductions. So think of deductions as expenses of not just, I'm going to the store and buying groceries. That's not the deductions we're looking for, right? Deductions we're looking for are student loan interest, charitable contributions, mortgage interest. We're looking for deductions are expenses that impact my sustainability as a person that requires cost of living. So cost of living, we're allocated by OPM, Office of Personnel Services. They allocate what is called a cost of living, and they also allocate that by per diems, right? Well, for us in the IRS, they gave us our own cost of living, and their cost of living is, hey, I'm going to give you a tax break on if you can validate what that mortgage interest was, what your property taxes were, what were your sales taxes, if you had any, what were your charitable contributions, what did you earn in jury duty, Those are some of the things that they're going to deduct from your income in order to tell you, hey, bottom line, I've take considerable factor of all the items you presented to me as your deductions. I know you've made 60,000. Of that 60,000, I've given you what's called a standard deduction for your family. You have a family of 4. The standard deduction was 26,000. I'm taking that off of your taxes, your income. And then that income still isn't your taxable income, right? So your taxable income, after that, I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to adjust your income. So you're going to start with, my income is 60,000. I'm going to give you a $26,000 tax standard deduction for your family of 4. By doing that, I'm going to give you what's called an adjusted gross income. That adjusted gross income is now your gross income that now is going to eventually equate to your net income or your net profit line, if it's positive or negative, and that's how they determine what your taxes are. It's going to get involved, but it's only going to get better. So by stating that, we're going to now talk about credits. So credits are even more powerful than deductions. But this is where we get this misconstrued, right? So credits can be a great thing and a bad thing at the same time. So what credits are credits directly decrease what you owe the U.S. government. But because you're getting a credit does not mean that you truly deserve or have earned or meet the requirements for this credit. One that comes to mind is the child tax credit and the earned income tax credit. If there is a test that you have to do, if you're presenting independent, you have to be providing as a parent or as the guardian of a child, providing more than 50% of the child's taking care of that child, and the child has to reside in your home for a certain amount of time, and that you have to do a relationship test. So because you have a friend that has 5 kids, the max you can get on the earned income tax credit is for 3 kids. Leaves her with 2 kids. The parent, the father of that child cares not to file taxes. Well, I have 2 kids I can give you, and you can give me a portion of that earned income tax credit. No. That, by law, is unethical and not allowed. The minute that you have gotten into a practice of not living right and not doing right by just answering the questions legitimately on an application for a job or a tax preparation, then there's some opportunity for better improvement. And my series is to help you align what is right and what is wrong when it comes to tax prep. And with saying that, I'm going to go ahead and close out this series with stating that tax preparation involves gathering information, okay? Filing your return on time. It also helps you understand the terms like I covered today. Income, deductions, tax bracket, credits. All of those terminology that we've covered today not only help you understand what you're having to file at the end of the year, how to read the documents, but what is the expectation of you bringing down that knowledge and showing it to someone else. Give it forward, pay it forward, give it back, because you may have started this series with having lack of knowledge or limited knowledge, or just saying, you know what, I just needed someone to talk to or listen to in inspiring me on how to work through, get understanding what my tax preparer is doing for me year to year. Well, what we're going to say is by filing accurately, you can avoid penalties and ensure that you're paying only what you truly owe. But understanding how you truly owe is just a beginning, but possibly getting some back because you have done everything in your power to file an accurate tax return. You have empowered yourself to become a greater person because now you have now discovered what your financial growth journey is going to be. Because the next step is tax planning. Understanding the tax form or understanding tax prep is just the beginning of your journey. Your next step is going to be financial planning. And in closing, I want to go ahead and let you know that we'll be diving deeper in our future sessions, covering the specific forms, our strategies. Some of these scenarios, I'm going to break it down to the numbers, to the point where you'll be able to say, you know what, I have a W-2 job that's giving me 40K. What am I dealing with, right? You're going to get to the point where you're going to be like, hey, I'm going to make sure that I have my allowances set up. I have investments in my 401k. If you're doing Bitcoin, if you're doing any NFTs, all your investments, all of that information, I'm gonna give you so many gems that at the end of this series, you're gonna come back to me and say, hey, just ask Yara. Yara, what's going on? By the way, I filed my taxes and you won't believe it. I've been able to decrease or not pay back because I've been able to show them exactly where I've lost, what my losses were this year, not just because they were charitable contribution, but in order to invest into Bitcoin, I had to invest a surmountable amount of money, and that money is considered a loss. And my gains for that year was beyond, I suffered a loss. Stocks were down. So from doing that, you're going to be seeing that in our series, it's more knowledge base or filling our knowledge gaps, but helping you navigate to become a better financial individual as you plan your future. And I ask that you make sure that you take these concepts. Remember that accurate tax filing is vital, and that both a peace of mind and your financial health is what matters, right? What matters is you, the individual, because without you, you cannot provide for others. And in closing, please remember that share your knowledge, give it back, pay it forward, and do remember to follow my channel, hit subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Just Ask Yara, as well as on Facebook, Just Ask Yara. And if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to comment, and I'll be glad to reach back out to you. Have a great day, and thank you for listening.